The 2.1 update has just dropped, and the Emanator has arrived. The new 5-star Nihility character, Acheron, has been released. It was a huge hype from a lot of players who wait for this character, especially because of the Acheron design. Her design was very similar to Raiden Mei from Honkai Impact and Raiden A from Genshin Impact, who is also a popular character in their each game. I also need to mention how cool her ultimate animation is. Well, after a long wait since the 2.0 update, when Acheron introduced to Penacony updates, does Acheron deserve all the hype? Or is she just gonna be a fan service character with a flop kit? Since a lot of people talking about her being a problematic DPS. Well, we will see the answer in this video. Welcome back to Gangstar Zero channel, and let's get into it. Okay, so let's start from her skill. Her skill will damage the target and the adjacent target. You will gain 1 point of Slashed Dreams, which is the stack for your ultimate. You will also inflict 1 stack of Crimson Knot on the targeted enemy. Her skill will be her main rotation, because her basic attack will not gain any Slashed Dream stack nor Crimson Knot debuff. Consistently using her skill on her turn will help your Acheron to maximize her own DPS damage. Next, we will talk about her talent. As you can see from the screen, Acheron ultimate could be recharged by filling the ultimate stack, or we can call it Slashed Dream stack. Once this stack is full, you can start using her ultimate. During the ultimate, Acheron will reduce any kind of enemy's toughness without caring about the weakness type. So it means that you can weakness break any enemies with Acheron ultimate even though the enemy doesn't have lightning weakness. Acheron will also reduce all types of resistance for all the enemy. So, how can we increase the Slashed Dream stack to use our ultimate? You can also increase her ultimate stack by applying debuff to the enemy from any ally on the battlefield. If you apply a lot of debuff on a single attack, the Slashed Dream or ultimate stack will only increase by 1. This will also inflict the Crimson Knot to the target enemies when you apply a debuff. Besides coming from applying debuffs from any ally, when an enemies die and they inflict a debuff to the other enemies, Acheron will also gain Slashed Dream stack. You can see it on the screen. So, Acheron can gain Slashed Dream or her ultimate stack coming from Acheron skill, an ally applying debuff to the enemy, and when an enemy inflicts a debuff to the other enemies. Last up, we are going to talk about her ultimate, which is her main damage, and most of the damage is coming from her ultimate. After using her ultimate, Acheron will bring the enemies to the other dimension where time stops. Remember the Crimson Knot stack as you can see in below of the enemy. Before you deal damage to the enemies, make sure to target an enemy with the most available Crimson Knot stack. If you hit the enemy with Crimson Knot, the stack will be reduced and Acheron will deal additional lightning damage to all enemy, based on how much stack is removed. Next, we are going to talk about her bonus ability. Her first bonus ability will give Acheron Slashed Dream stack and apply Crimson Knot stacks to random enemy. When Slashed Dreams exceeds the limit and you gain another Slashed Dream, you will gain 1 stack of Quadrivalent Ascendant stacks. These Quadrivalent Ascendant stacks will store up to 3 stacks. After using the ultimate, this Quadrivalent Ascendant stack will be converted to Slash a Dream or Ultimate stack. Her second bonus ability will increase Acheron damage dealt based on how much Nihility character other than Acheron herself. Her last bonus ability will increase Acheron damage if her ultimate hits enemies with Crimson Knot. This increased damage will stack and last for a certain number of turns. When the final blow of the ultimate is triggered, deal additional damage that count as ultimate damage. Okay, for the next part, we are going to talk about her build. I will start from the light cone because this is where Acheron, her signature light cone, will be the best in slot for her. This light cone will increase crit damage. This light cone could also apply a debuff to the enemy, which will increase wearer damage and buff her ultimate damage. Because this light cone can apply a debuff when you use Acheron's skill, Acheron not only gains 1 stack of Slashed Dreams, but she can gain up to 2 stack of Slashed Dreams. This is why her signature Lycon seems to be very pay-to-win build for Acheron, since Acheron damage mostly comes from her ultimate and we need to charge her ultimate as fast as we can. Kafka signature Lycons could also be a good option, since this Lycon can also apply Lightning DOT, which also counts as applying debuff to the enemy. For the 4-star Lycon, Good Night Sleep Well will be the best options right now. Other than that, it is hard for me to recommend them. The next one, we are going to talk about her relic. Her best in slot relic would be 4 sets of Pioneer Dives of Dead Water. This 2-set relic will give bonus damage if the enemy is debuffed. The 4 set will give you crit rate and crit damage. When your character applies a debuff, the crit rate and the crit damage will be doubled. And yes, this relic is the best relic since you will always apply a debuff when you use her ultimate. Don't forget the debuff coming from her talent. For another 4-piece set, you can go for 4 sets of Band of Sizzling Thunder. For the 2 sets, you can go and choose between the Izumo set or the Sigonia set. The 2 new planar sets coming from the Simulated Universe World 9. You can choose which one you want to use based on which substat is better. For my own preference, I choose the Izumo set since we already got a lot of crit damage buffs from the other source. Increasing crit rate will be a good option to keep the damage critical every time. For the main stat, you can go for crit on the body depending on your current stat, speed or attack percent for the feet, lightning damage boost for the planar, and attack percent for the link rope. Don't use energy regeneration rate on the link rope since Acheron doesn't use any energy for her ultimate. For the substat, you can go for crit rate and crit damage followed by attack percent and speed. For the team lineup, I think this is the best and comfortable lineup to use. Double Nihility will be a very good option since her second bonus ability will increase Acheron damage when there is another Nihility character. The other Nihility character will also help Acheron to get her ultimate faster. For the F2P option, you can go for Guinevere and Pela. For the sustain, Fire Trailblazer will be the very best option right now. With the combination of Trailblazer skill and Tran Light Cone, Trailblazer will apply debuff when they use skill, which is Town, and Tran Light Cone will apply Fire DOT if an enemy hits the wearer. You can go for another Preservation Sustainer like Jeopard, Fushuan, or Mark 7. Don't forget to use the Lycon Tran. For Abundance Sustainer, Gallagher, the new 4-star healer, could be the best options since his ultimate and enhanced basic attack could also apply debuff to the enemy. You can go for one debuffer and one buffer if you have Sparkle or Bronya. The difference between 2 Nihility and 1 Nihility with 1 buffer, especially Sparkle, will give almost the same outcome. Overall, Acheron surely gave me a good impression on her. Her damage as a DPS was outstanding, other than any DPS in the current game. Talking about damage, do you really need to pull Acheron's signature Lycon? As you can see, her Lycons give you a lot of benefit. The main benefit I want to point out is that her signature can also apply debuff, which will help you to feel the Slash Dream stack. The damage gap between Good Night and Sleep Well Superimpose 5 and the signature Lycons seems pretty big. Acheron's main damage is coming from her ultimate, so the faster you feel the ultimate, it means the more damage you will give to the enemy. Also, I see sometimes that it could be annoying for a lot of players if it is the last cycle and your Acheron ultimate is 8 out of 9 stacks, so you cannot use Acheron ultimate in a very important time. I already tested it out and the outcome seems pretty interesting for Good Night and Sleep Well. Good Night and Sleep Well on Superimpose 5 could also deal as much damage as we expect coming from Acheron, and this Lycon is also a good deal since you didn't have her signature Lycon. Well, without further ado, let's just deep dive on the pros and cons for more detail about Acheron's main power and problems. For the first pros, is about her outstanding DPS performance. As you can see, the damage coming from this character was a monster. She can easily destroy most of the current enemies in the Memory of Chaos. For the second point is, there is no Harmony character needed in the team. I said that Acheron could also play with Sparkle or Bronya, but with another double Nihility, you could use your powerful Harmony character on the other side of the team. This will help your other team or DPS become stronger because you don't need to adjust your Harmony character to play in the first or second team. Just put your Nihility character on Acheron team and put your buffer on your other DPS team. For the third point is, there is no energy gameplay in here. If we know how to apply the Slasher Dream stack well, Acheron could be a very consistent character to use her ultimate. She also does not need Xingyun and Huohuo, who are also famous for their energy regeneration. For the fourth point is that she is F2P friendly. Even though I said that her signature gives a big gap damage, Acheron is still F2P friendly in terms of teams. She does not need a powerful debuffer like Civil Wolf to make her a great DPS. Running an F2P team like Guinevere Pella and Gallagher or Fire MC is also a big deal for Acheron. I could also say that Good Night Sleep Well is also a very good Lycon because, as you can see, I also can deal a lot of damage even though it is coming from the 4-star Lycon. Well, for the problems that Acheron have is, yes, like I said before, signature Lycon will make her gameplay and build become more comfortable for most players. This problem will make Acheron seems to be a pay-to-win character. If you want to maximize her character, this problem will make Acheron seem to be a pay-to-win character if you want to maximize her damage. A lot of benefits and problems are solved from the Lycon. For the second point is, no other proper Lycon for F2P. Good Night Sleep Well is the only current F2P Lycon that can compare with her signature Lycon. If you do not have Good Night Sleep Well, then it's also hard for Acheron to deal a lot of damage if you use other 4-star Lycon. And then for the third point is, ultimate is equal to damage. It means that yes, if you cannot consistently deal a lot of damage from her ultimate, then it also means that you cannot consistently apply debuff to the enemy. This will make a huge DPS loss for your team. Alright, I think I have wrapped all the information that I want to give to all of you. If you are a new player and still searching for new DPS, Acheron could be a good choice for you since she can brute force any kind of element. For the current meta, Acheron is standing to be the best DPS right now. She is also good as a future-proof character, especially if there are any other Nihility characters that can debuff the enemy, or if there are any other sustainer character that could also apply a lot of debuff to the enemies. And yes, leave a like if you like this video and subscribe if you want more content like this. Share to the others if you found this video interesting, and I will see you guys on the other video. See ya.